The January transfer window was slammed shut, and what an uneventful month it was. When the biggest talking point on deadline day was Odion Ighalo returning to the Premier League and a Wigan defender not getting a move to AC Milan, you know it was a boring month. But despite that, there were still some interesting deals that slipped through the cracks. So here are 12 January transfers that you might have missed, and while you're on, follow me on Twitter, I'm at HITC James. Number 1, Gabriel Barbosa to Flamengo. After his Flamengo heroics last season, it seemed like Gabriel Barbosa had the pick of clubs across Europe. He returned to Inter Milan from his loan spell with a plethora of Premier League clubs interested in his signature. From the elite such as Tottenham to the mid-table likes of West Ham and Newcastle, Barbosa had options if he was keen on a move to the Premier League. But it never seemed to get further than paper talk, and out of nowhere Barbosa secured an emotional permanent return to Flamengo, who finally had enough money after selling wonder kid Renier to Real Madrid. But for Barbosa, he'll have to keep scoring goals if he wants another chance at proving himself in Europe, otherwise he'll just be remembered as that guy you'd always sign on Football Manager without ever seeing him in real life. Number 2, Suso to Sevilla. The Spanish playmaker always looked like one that got away for Liverpool, really kicking on in Serie A since his Anfield departure back in 2015. Suso has enjoyed some excellent years at AC Milan, but there was always talk about a move back to the Premier League. He did leave the San Siro last month, but it was Spain where he went, during Sevilla on an 18-month loan deal with an obligation to buy. Sevilla are doing well in La Liga this season, and should only get better with the arrival of Suso, who was just about to head into his peak years as a footballer at the age of 26. Number 3, Javier Mascherano to Estudiantes. A transfer that was announced ahead of the January window, Javier Mascherano's China adventure is over. After working under the genius of Chris Coleman, Mascherano has now returned home, joining Estudiantes to play his football in his native Argentina for the first time since 2005. To be honest, I kinda just thought he'd retired. At the grand old age of 35, he's one of those players you saw go to China and expect them just to end their career there. But no, Mascherano has moved on once again, and at the perfect time too, as his tough tackling style would be no match for the coronavirus that's kicking off. Number 4, Ricardo Rodriguez to PSV. Previously one of the most in-demand left-backs in all of Europe, Ricardo Rodriguez's stock has somewhat dropped in swapping Wolfsburg for AC Milan. It looked like he was joining the rebirth of the Milan Giants, but it hasn't worked out that way. And now he's left, with no one across Europe really batting an eyelid. The Switzerland international has moved to the Eredivisie, joining a struggling PSV side who are already out of the title race. It's just a loan deal until the end of the season for Rodriguez, but it seems like his AC Milan career is over regardless. Number 5, Mario Mandzukic to Al-Duhail. I didn't know this transfer happened at all, and to be honest I don't know anything about the team Mario Mandzukic has joined. I thought he was going to Manchester United anyway. Remember when that was a thing over the summer? Anyway, Mandzukic will at least have one mate out in Qatar. He's linking back with Moroccan centre-back Mehdi Benatia. At 33, can you really begrudge Mandzukic one more move and one last payday before he hangs up his boots? It's not the way the beautiful game should be played, but money makes the world go round as they say, so fair play to you, Mario. Number 6, Sam Stubbs to Den Haag. Alan Pardew is now managing in Holland, and he's enjoyed an odd little transfer window over at Den Haag. First things first, who knew former Everton defender Alan Stubbs had a son? Well, he does, he's called Sam, and just like his daddy, he's a centre-back as well. Stubbs Jr. is a Middlesbrough player, and he's now on loan under the watchful eye of Alan Pardew. Does he just hope that Sam will be as good as his father Alan? Probably. I'm surprised he hasn't snapped up Devante Cole as well. Number 7, Roberto to Alaves. For everyone's sake, thank goodness this transfer happened. Roberto joined West Ham in the summer, adding as a backup to the impressive Lucas Fabianski. The only issue was that he became the main man when the Pole went down with an injury. And it quickly became apparent that the Spanish stopper was nowhere near Fabianski's level. In fact, some would even question his attributes to being a goalkeeper full stop. Roberto was woeful, eventually being replaced by David Martin, who only looked decent because he wasn't Roberto. But with West Ham signing Darren Randolph, Roberto is no longer needed, and he returned to Spain with a loan move to Alaves. Good luck to him, he'll need it. Number 8, Jurgen Locadia to Cincinnati. This man's Premier League career just hasn't gone to plan, has it? I remember him being a beast on FIFA a few years ago, but he's anything but in 2020. Brighton didn't get their money's worth for Locadia, who scored just 3 Premier League goals for the Seagulls. That's £5 million per goal. Locadia started the season on loan at Hoffenheim, but now he's off to the MLS, joining Cincinnati where you'd like to think he'll have a bit more luck in front of goal. This deal was actually done in February, but we're going to include it anyway before you fill up the comments, although I may be over-egging how much you all care about Jurgen Locadia. Number 9, Luke Matheson to Wolves. In September, a curly-haired 16-year-old scored his first senior goal against Manchester United before heading back to school the next day. Well, now a mature 17-year-old who still looks like to be ideal for a 15-rated film as a Wolves player, having joined Nuno's side on deadline day. We won't see him until the summer though, with Matheson returning to Rochdale on loan for the rest of the season. What a coup he is for Wolves, and he really could be a future star at Molineux. It was one of the under-the-radar deals on deadline day, but it could be the most significant in years to come. Number 10, Dani Olmo to RB Leipzig. A move from Croatian football to a Bundesliga side that isn't Dortmund or Bayern Munich probably isn't that big a deal, but this was a huge deal in the landscape of European football. Dani Olmo was one of the most wanted men in Europe who isn't a criminal, but it was RB Leipzig who got him, and what a signing. Leipzig are on the cusp of breaking the monopoly in the Bundesliga, and signing a player like Olmo is a real statement of where they are as a club. Can he take them to the title? There's a real chance, and this move should give the Spaniard the platform to achieve the potentially showcased at Dinamo Zagreb. Number 11, Hatem Ben Arfa to Real Valladolid. Remember Hatem Ben Arfa? The bloke who can play like Lionel Messi and Lionel Blair within the same game. None of you are going to know who Lionel Blair is, Christ. Well, he's been on the move again this month, heading to Spain for the first time in his career to play for Real Valladolid. And just like the Maverick he is, he's taken the number 3 shirt. Unless he's adapted his game and is now a reformed left back, that's really not the right number for a mercurial Frenchman like Hatem Ben Arfa. What a player Ben Arfa is, but what a waste of potential he's been. And finally, number 12, Borja Baston to Aston Villa. Last but not least, Aston Villa were desperate for strikers in January, and they got one in Samata from Genk. Then on deadline day they added another, none other than Borja Baston. You know, the guy Swansea wasted a bucket load of money on before they were relegated. He cost a club record 15 million quid and managed just one Premier League goal. The Championship was a bit better for Baston, but he still only scored 6 times before spending the rest of his days out on loan. Well, somehow he's back in the Premier League, joining Aston Villa on a free. If Dean Smith thinks Baston is the answer, God knows what the question is. So those are 12 January transfers that you might have missed this month. Let us know of any more in the comments below. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.